Hello agents, and welcome back to another daily episode of my beginner and returning players guide series. This is your daily farming guide for Monday, February 29th. In this series, I cover a large scope of useful info like the target loot map, Dark Zone exclusives, highlights for the weekly vendor resets, as well as Cassie and named items, and build and farming suggestions as well. This is Shadow Gaming, and if you're new to the channel or enjoy this video, consider pressing those thumbs up and subscribe buttons below, and if not, give it a thumbs down. And always remember to hit the bell notification to all so you never miss a daily morning video, and comment below if you have any questions or feedback whatsoever. Otherwise, let's get this thing started, agents. Alright agents, so starting off with the Dark Zones and of course vendor reset highlights, which are always in that big bottom left overlay. I definitely recommend getting that safety distance at the White House, maybe the Vector SBR at Haven, and the Baker's Dozen at the theater. And then of course if Cassie is still somehow open, I would definitely pick up those Fox's Paired knee pads for sure. That is definitely a grab that is worth it, and I hope you guys got it. Now back over here in DZ West, we got Tip of the Spear, which there is no Dark Zone exclusive for, same with the ones in DZ South today, but I'll still give you guys a guide if you want to, farm the Dark Zones either way. So for Tip of the Spear, I would recommend running the Survivalist specialization with the crossbow, so you could just strip off all the armor off an enemy, especially on legendaries and raids. It's a really niche gear set, but it helps your teammates. Now over here in DZ South, we got Empress. Once again, no Dark Zone exclusive, but I will put my favorite turret and drone build in the top title card right now, and that's 3 pieces of Empress, 2 pieces of Hana Yu, and the Waveform holster. And I like to run Kinetic Momentum on the chest piece, the Force Multiplier backpack with perfect combined arms, and then of course the Capacitor and the Harmony rifle as my secondary. Now I've been tinkering around lately with the Percussive Maintenance backpack with perfect tech support, which you could farm for today at District Union Arena. Now that one's been pretty good on that build lately. Otherwise, you can also farm for Caesar's Guard chest piece with perfectly skilled and the battery pack with perfectly calculated. Those are 2 named Empress items, but they are not Dark Zone exclusives. And then last but not least, in DZ East, we got light machine guns. So there is a Dark Zone exclusive here that is the Black Friday with perfectly unhinged, and that's a great LMG. I definitely recommend picking it up for any LMG build that you have. And then of course you can still farm for the exotics like the Bullet King or the Pestilence. Now the Pestilence drops like flies in the Dark Zone, so you're almost guaranteed to get it if you come in here. And of course you can get that damage tick to over 1,000,000 per tick if you spec into weapon damage. Is not technically a status effect. And then with the Bullet King, it just, you never have to reload it, but it has a lower base damage. And then in the bottom left overlay, there's a bunch of named, LMGs that you can get in this game. The Black Friday you can get in the DZ, as well as I think most of the other ones on here in the Dark Zone as well. Otherwise, they're in the Light Zone. Alright, now let's go check out the North Side and of course invaded missions, agents. Alright, agents, North Side target loot highlights. Starting off with the invaded missions this week, we got Camp White Oak, and then of course Bank HQ and DCD HQ, and then the 2 strongholds is Roosevelt Island and Tidal Basin as always. Now over here at Camp White Oak in the north side is my first recommendation, Douglas and Harding. You can farm of course the Punch Drunk Mass with 20% headshot damage baked into it, which is perfect for an all high-end headshot damage build, not like the Aces and Eights one that I recommend. And then next up we got Ongoing Directive at Coney Island Ballpark. Now Ongoing Directive, I have 2 bleed damage builds that I need to make videos for, and they'll probably be part of the best of DPS builds series guide video that I'm coming out pretty soon. So the first one's going to be 4-piece Ongoing Directive and the Ridgeway's Pride chest piece with the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked, because the Eclipse Protocol backpack no longer works alone. And then of course the second one is 4-piece Ongoing Directive, a Vile Mask, and then of course the Badger Tough backpack with Creeping Death Talent, or you could use the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked still. Either way, I would run the Carnage with Perfect Sadist and the Scorpio with Septic Shock as your primary and secondary weapons. And then we got knee pads over here at Coney Island Amusement Park. Now you got 2 exotics, Sawyer's knee pads and Ninja Bike Messenger knee pads, and both of them are wildly different. So with the Ninja Bike Messenger knee pads, it's for run and gun builds, so you can do cover to cover or vault, and you get 25% bonus armor per time, and you instantly reload your weapon. And then with Sawyer's, you sit still, and every second you sit still, you get 1% weapon damage up to 30%. And then of course you could also farm for the Fox's Prayer knee pads with 8% damage targets out of cover. Now that one's great, I recommend every agent have a pair of those. It's multiplicative damage, which of course is the best type of damage in this game, but I recommend farming Overlord today for that, and I believe is in the New York City map today. And then lastly we got Providence Defense at Manny National Zoo. You could farm the Sacrifice with Perfect Glass Cannon, and that will amplify all damage that you deal by 30%, but it amplifies all incoming damage to yourself by 60%. It's perfect for skill damage builds and DPS builds if you're willing to be that squishy and able to die that fast. Otherwise, I recommend Intimidate or Obliterate on a DPS build, or Kinetic Momentum on your chest piece for a skill damage build. And then of course, you know, Kinley College is closed and the summit you pick your own target to loot. So let's move on to the west side now, then east, then New York City last. Alright, Agents West Side target loot highlights. Starting off with my second favorite gear set in this game, True Patriot at Roosevelt Island. You can farm this on Legendary for your best rolls possible, as you know, best chance to get them. And I'll put my True Patriot SMG build in the top right and bottom left overlay now. That is 4 pieces of True Patriot, and then of course the Memento backpack with a Sokolov chest with Intimidate, and you always want to run the Lady Death and the Mop with 10% armor on kill on it. That is great for solo all the way up to 4-man group, heroic, legendary, summit, or strongholds. It kind of just does everything, and there's an alternative build to this as well. And that alternative build would be the same 4 pieces of True Patriot and Memento backpack, but you swap the Sokolov chest piece out for a Fenris chest piece with Intimidate, and you run the Chameleon with Adaptive Instincts. And then next up, we got a Close Protocol at Lincoln Memorial. This is a great mission. You could kill this place in like 9 minutes or less. And of course, I'll put my favorite fire damage build in the top right and bottom left overlay now. And that of course is 4-piece Eclipse, the Imperial Dynasty holster, and then 1 piece of Golan gear for an additional 10% status effects, because you want status effects rolled on every 6 pieces of your gear. And then of course I run that with the Sting Hive, and then of course the Firestarter Chem Launcher, and you want to run like the Pyromaniac with Perfectly Ignited, or the Capacitor, or the Harmony, or something like that. And the last 2 we got is Future Initiative and Foundry Bulwark. Now these both share the same thing, that their chest and backpack are Operation Iron Horse raid exclusives on normal difficulty, so keep that in mind when farming for them. So for a non-raid exclusive healer build for Future Initiative, I'd recommend 4-piece Future Initiative, an Alp Summit chest piece with Empathetic Resolve, and a backpack with Safeguard on it, probably Murakami, Richter, and Kaiser, or another Alp Summit chest piece or backpack. And then for Foundry Bulwark at Foggy Bottom, you know, I would recommend as a non-raid exclusive, just put on the Emperor's Guard knee pads with 1% armor regen and 1 pair of Bellstone Armory for an extra 1% armor regen. Now for normal targeted loot, let's start with MMRs at DARPA Research Labs. So of course there's 2 exotic MMRs in this game, the Mantis, which you could just straight up farm for, and the Nemesis, which is a quest only and a very specific, you know, difficult one. So I'm gonna have to point you in the direction of the pinned comment video description below to check out my shadowgaming.network website, where you can find a Dark Zone exclusives guide and of course exotic guide and step-by-step guide on how to get the Nemesis. And then of course I recommend the Ekim's long stick with Perfect Ranger and the White Death, probably rolled with Boomerang, Rifleman, or Ranger as the talent. Those are 2 great named MMRs that drop in the light zone. And then we got Eligard over here at the Pentagon for all you shield build users if you need something, and then Richter and Kaiser at Tidal Basin. Speaking of shield build users, you can pick up the Forge with 50% shield health on it. That is a holster that drops in the, you know, named holster that drops in the light zone that is equivalent to a whole extra skill tier worth of shield health. And then of course we got chest pieces at West Potomac Park. Now you got 2 exotic chest pieces in this game, the Tardigrade, which is a True Sons faction chest piece, but you can still farm it chest piece targeted loot, and you could just straight up farm for it, no restrictions. But the Ridgeway's Pride, you need to complete the project, the 2-part project first from Summit, which by the way, of course, you know, step-by-step guide on my website if you want to check it in the pinned comment video description below on how to get the Ridgeway's Pride, or just let your teammates know what you're farming for and vice versa. That's a really good practice to always let you guys know, you know, what you're looking for and what they're looking for, so that you guys can share and help each other out. And then of course we got Mass over here at DCDHQ. You got 2 exotics, the Coyotes Mask and Vile Mask. The Coyotes is great for DPS builds, and only 1 person in the group needs to be wearing it to get the benefits of the crit chance and crit damage from the Pack Instincts, you know, talent. And then for the Vile Mask, you could run the Demolitionist specialization to increase the damage debuff on the Vile Mask, so that's an option as well, but you don't have to run it. And then of course next up we got Bellstone at the White House area, so you can farm the everyday carrier perfectly efficient, although that one seems like that one should be the Dark Zone exclusive. Like the Liquid Engineer backpack with Perfect Bloodsucker is a Dark Zone exclusive, and it just kind of feels like they messed that up. It should be reversed because the everyday carrier seems to be something you would use in a Dark Zone PvP build, but comment below and let me know on your thoughts on it please. And then next up, Walker Harrison Co. at Bank HQ, you can farm the Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter. That's going to deal 150% of your last killing blow, and that's like 20 million a headshot. And that's with like the Mantis, aces and eights build I usually recommend, and then like 50 million a headshot with a fully charged shot from the Nemesis. And the last three we got is rifles at Downtown West. So of course you got the Merciless and the Diamondback. Those are the two exotic rifles in this game. The Merciless you need braced on your chest piece, 3 to 6 pieces of weapon handling on your gear, or you could use 3-piece striker, but I don't recommend it. And then for the Diamondback, it only has 5 shots. That's the only downside. Otherwise it hits hard in PvE and PvP. And then of course for the named rifles, the Harmony with Perfect In Sync is a DZ exclusive, but I would recommend the Baker's Dozen with Perfect Lucky Shot and the Surge with Perfect Spike. Those are two great named rifles that drop in the light zone. And then last two we got is submachine guns at West End. So you got 2 exotic SMGs you could just straight up farm for. That's the Lady Death and the Backfire. And then the third one is the Chatterbox, which I will put in the top right card, a quick 5-minute video guide on how to get it. And it's actually faster than farming SMG targeted loot, just to like repeat the quest over and over again. And then with the Lady Death, if you're running the True Patriot build, it'll have 42 rounds instead of 32. And then with the Backfire, you're going to need like 90 to 94% hazard protection and bleed resistance to stop the bleed, or you can just skip the reload animation. Otherwise, I always like to remind everybody that the Dark Winter and the Apartment are Dark Zone exclusives. You cannot farm for them outside of the Dark Zones, but I do have a Dark Zone guide, like Dark Zone exclusive guide on my website, shadowgaming.network, so definitely go check that out for sure if you're confused or need some help with that. And then lastly, I'd like to recommend the Safety Distance, the Perfect Outsider, and the Grudge with Perfect Vindictive. Those are two really good named SMGs that do drop in the light zone. And last but not least, we got Shotguns at Federal Emergency Bunker. You got 2 exotics, the Sweet Dreams with the Sandman Talon and the Scorpio with Septic Shock. The Sweet Dreams is good for tank and skill build. You can melee one-hit kill any purple or red barred enemy, and the cooldown is a short 15 seconds. But with the Scorpio, I mean, it just works on every single type of build, and it's like 1 shot is like poison, 3 shots is confused, 5 shock, 7 is like a 20% damage debuff to that enemy. And that one is rewarded at season 4 level 55. Otherwise, I would recommend the other 4 best shotguns, so that would be the Rock and Roll Perfectly Extra, which is a DZ exclusive, the Mop with 10% armor on kill, and then the Custom M8 70 and the Marine Super 90 with close and personal rolled on them. And that's all I really recommend for the west side. Let's go ahead and check out now what we got on the east side, agents. Alright, agents, east side target loot highlights, starting off with the one and only gear set we got on the east side, Space Admin. So we got Rigor. This is great for instant skill cooldowns when you cancel or destroy your skill, and of course if you're using a turret and drone or a skill that you can manually target stuff with, then it still activates the 4-piece bonus as if you cancel or destroyed a skill. So it's definitely worth it, and I can't recommend a build just yet, but I will eventually. For normal targeted loot, I'm going to start off with some highlights or whatever that stand out to me. Golan gear at American History Museum. This is where I would farm the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked. That's going to give you 18% weapon damage for 27 seconds upon applying a status effect. And of course, that's why it's so perfect for the ongoing directed bleed damage builds, because you're always applying a status effect non-stop, as well as the Close Protocol as well. Although the Close Protocol backpack gives you 30% amplified damage against someone that's status affected, so that's, way times better. And then next up at Viewpoint Museum, definitely Hana Yu. You can farm the Force Multiplier backpack with Perfect Combined Arms. That's going to give you 30% skill damage, but only for a short 3 seconds, and that's upon landing a shot on an NPC or player. So it requires you to constantly be shooting to get that 30% skill damage. So what I've been doing lately is running the Alp Summit backpack named piece. That's the percussive maintenance with perfect tech support, and that gives you 25% skill damage for 27 seconds. Now you lose the 10% skill haste from Hana Yu, so you could run a Hana Yu backpack with tech support, but that only lasts 25% skill damage for 20 seconds, so you lose 7 seconds of skill damage. So I prefer just running the named one that you can farm here at District Union today. And then of course some other standout ones are backpacks at East Mall area. So everyone always asks me that question about the memento and them missing it during season 3, which definitely sucks. It was easy to get back then, but for now you just have to farm backpack targeted loot as well as Acosta's go bag. And then of course we got gloves over here at Jefferson Plaza. You can farm for the BTSU data gloves that grants overcharge to you and any ally that's at skill tier 6. So definitely check that out for any skill build, like, you know, for a skill healer build especially, and some skill damage builds. You can also farm for the contractor's gloves with 8% damage to armor. That's great for any LMG build or if you're stacking damage to armor on your build, but I recommend farming Petrov over in New York City today though. And then of course we got Overlord at Air and Space Museum. This is where you could farm for that Fox's pair of knee pads with 8% damage to targets out of cover. I highly recommend farming here instead of over, you know, at the Coney Island Amusement Park area. You want to farm the brand, not the type. And then we got holsters at Capitol Building Stronghold. So you got 3 exotics, the Waveform, which unlocks at Season 4 level 90, the Imperial Dynasty, and the Dodge City holsters. The Dodge City is great for pistol and headshot damage builds, the Imperial Dynasty is great for status effects, setting everything on fire, and the Waveform is great for just pure 33% skill damage, alternating between your left and right skills. And then of course, I think lastly, we got ARs over here at Federal Triangle. So of course, the Dark Hours raid exclusive Eagleberry you cannot farm for outside of the Dark Hours raid on normal difficulty. But you could farm for the Chameleon with Adaptive Instincts and the Capacitor with Capacitance if you've unlocked it from completing 5 summit challenges on any difficulty, even if you want to just do it on normal. And remember that exotics, you know, when they drop, their rolls are not based on difficulty, you know, their drop chances are, just not their rolls. I highly recommend the Chameleon and the Capacitor especially for skill damage builds, and then of course the Chameleon for like that True Patriot build or any DPS hybrid build for sure. And then of course there's a bunch of named assault rifles in the bottom left overlay. The Rail Splitter is of course a Dark Zone exclusive. The rest of them you could safely farm for in the Light Zone. And that's about all I'm going to mention over here in the DC area. Let's go ahead and move on to New York City now. Alright agents, here we are at New York City. Target loot highlights last. Let's go ahead and start in the south area. So we got aces and eights at Liberty Island. Like I always say, it's a great headshot gear set and you only need 3 pieces of aces and eights to run this. And then 2 pieces of Geraldo Holding, one being a backpack with Vigilance or Composure. I prefer Vigilance. And then the Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter, running the primary Mantis. Secondary, you know, I'd run Ekim's Long Stick. That's going to give you about 20 million a headshot with your Mantis when, you know, you got the Chain Killer activated. So definitely try to put that build together if you can. And then of course in Financial District we got Petrov. This is where I would farm for those contractors gloves. And then we got Badger Tough at Wall Street. This is where you could farm the Zero F's chest piece of Perfect Unbreakable. Now, whenever your armor breaks, you repair 100% of it with this chest piece, and the cooldown is only 55 seconds, so it's great for DPS hybrid builds, adding survivability to your chest piece, and you can also farm the backpack, like Badger Tough backpack with the Creeping Death Talent on here as well, if you want to go for that second ongoing directed bleed damage build today. And then next up we got Murakami over here at Pathway Park. Now Murakami is really great, and please comment below and let me know what you think after you try throwing some Murakami on your turret and drone build, and let me know exactly how great it is to have your turret and drone like always up. And then last couple we got of course is Grupo Sombro at Stranded Tanker. Remember, 1 piece for DPS builds, you want them all red for that 15% crit hit damage, and 2 pieces for explosive skill damage builds, running the artillery turret and the seeker mines. And of course you want those rolled all yellow with like skill haste and maybe status effects or skill damage. And then of course we got Negotiator's Dilemma at 2 bridges. I'll make sure to put in the top right my double LMG build as 4-piece Negotiator's Dilemma, Coyote's Mask, Grupo Sombro gloves, or Contractor's gloves, running the Pestilence or the Bullet King. And then we got Strikers at Civic Center. I only ever recommend running 3 pieces for increased rate of fire and weapon handling. Otherwise I feel like this gear set needs to be completely reworked and buffed, or something needs to happen with it. And then lastly we got Hardwired at the Tombs. Running Butcher did a great build where it's 4-piece hardwired, and then the China Light chest piece with Unbreakable or Glass Cannon on it, running the Vile Mask, the Jammer Pulse, and the Firefly. Well agents, that was it for your daily farming guide for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, consider pressing those subscribe and like buttons below, and if not, go ahead and just smash the thumbs down button. If you'd like to become a member for extra support and exclusive perks, which I'm working on more, you can click the join button below, and thank you to all my channel members. The extra support is really helpful. And always remember to check the video description and pinned comment below for links to my shadowgaming.network website, where you can find my Shadow Gaming merch, my Discord, my Shadow Crew clan on all platforms, Dark Zone exclusives guides like weekly vendor resets, just basically every guide info that you need, exotic step-by-step guides, all sorts of stuff that helps you out, timers, etc. Anyway, take care, agents, and be sure to stay tuned for more daily Division 2 content. This is Shadow Gaming signing off. I will see you in the next video. I hope you guys had a lovely weekend.